in Vegas, we got to have a little fun, don't we? Everybody go out to the tables last night. How many people have hangovers? No, don't raise your hands. I'm not one of them. I was doing email last night, which is really boring. So welcome, everybody. And for those of you watching around the world, I'm really happy to be here and talking about open network systems, a direction we're taking at Sun with our technology that is very exciting and transformational for the whole industry in terms of how we build and deliver infrastructure for applications. So people know Sun's vision, of course, which is around the network as the computer. And if you go back in time, you think about how forward-looking that was, because this was, of course, before the days of the modern internet. We had the ARPANET and the early days of the internet. And many elements of the concept here with Bill Joy were that most of what you want to do or access, by definition, will be somewhere else. And that was kind of a client view. And when you think about when you sit down to a client device, the network is the computer. That is, the internet is, in fact, the computer that you're actually using, as opposed to whatever device you're interacting with. But there's another view on this as well, which is how do you actually build the infrastructure behind all of the applications that you go use. And the big change here, the big thing that's happening is around convergence. So in the very early days, obviously incorporating a basic network interface and software was how you built a server or a storage device or a network device. But these were all built and delivered and developed as separate components that then people put together in a data center to deliver high activity applications. And there's a huge change afoot now in terms of how we design the infrastructure that applications run that take advantage of the convergence of technologies. And it's not just because we want to do this, or because it's interesting from a customer perspective. It's also because there are technologies now that enable it. And one of the biggest changes that's happened in the industry over the past 5 to 10 years is how there's a broad range of open technologies that give you the performance, the reliability characteristics, and the capability to fundamentally change the way infrastructure is developed. And that includes open software platforms with built-in virtualization and other technical capabilities. Open networking, heading up until 40 gigabit kind of interface speeds that let you build a different abstraction for how computing, storage, and interconnect is done. Storage technology based on open source with new kinds of storage devices. And then, of course, all of the range of application environments that are also open as well. And this is a huge change for how people are going to build their infrastructure using technologies from Sun in the way we refactor this. And we call this open network systems. That's a play, obviously, on the concept of the network as the computer. Computer is a little bit of an outdated term here, because really what you're doing is you're building a system. Every application in the data center is going to have computational requirements, it's going to touch a network, it's going to store something somewhere. If you think about how basic that is fundamentally the system upon which you run an application. And that's what we're building today, using a different combination of core technologies to blur the distinction between what constitutes where your storage is and how do you get storage efficiency? How do you enable systems to talk to each other at such high speeds that you can achieve new levels of performance and reliability? And that's what we're doing with our open network systems. And underneath all this, unlike other vendors that have been working on this for some time going back, is there's open technologies, open source platforms, open network technologies, open storage technologies, and of course on the server side. What does it give to customers? The first element of this, obviously, is speed. When you go and refactor your environment around really high-performance networks and a different way of looking at storage, you can unlock tremendous application performance that you just couldn't get with sets of disparate technologies that weren't designed to mate and work together. And that's, of course, a great payoff for customers, not just the people solving a really extreme computing problem, but the people who want to do things more efficiently. Huge payoff in simplicity. As we bring together networking and storage, this notion of separate administrative islands for all of the technical components, the notion of having to have many, many managed elements, each with their own separate concept of management, can also go away. We can deliver tremendous performance at the application level without the complexity. And that obviously delivers savings. As we couple that to our cooling solutions and all the other things that we've built and innovated through the last decade, tremendous savings delivering the same application performance as before. Now, there's a lot of headlines, of course, about the economy and things not going well, and I want to brighten things up with some good news. One of the things that happens, obviously, if you're working on products, is you're working to make products better all the time, and many of the products that we're working on are delivering the capability of getting you down to speed, simplicity, and savings, which is really important today, because in the market today, you're either trying to save money dramatically, or you are trying to achieve and manage to high levels of application performance. So there's tremendous interest in these kinds of core technologies. Whether it is, how can I refactor my storage to a cloud type of environment? How can I get to a much higher degree of consolidation and virtualization? How can I do my analytics much faster than anyone else in order to beat them in the marketplace? And so there are many different needs for these kinds of technologies today in a very, very broad range of enterprises. A big part of this also for partners is this notion that you can also move beyond a simple storage and server sale to a much more complex sale with additional services, so that you can actually wrap that around your own software and other capability. And you'll see that even in Twitter, you have all the people are really going after high-scale internet infrastructure and solving problems using the internet, which has to be built with back-end infrastructure with great capability. And there's a humorous side to all this as well, because we're in Vegas here. But the internet continues to grow with humor, and we tried to actually get the Octomom here for the talk show section of this. Since she's got 8 future internet users, we wanted to kind of get in on the ground floor of making sure she understood the technology we were making, but unfortunately we don't have that. But the core concept here is that the internet will obviously continue to grow in rapid form, because it becomes the most effective way, not for just for people to communicate, but also for commerce between companies. And that creates an enormous opportunity for people who need new technology that brings together open platform around the convergence of storage, compute, and networking. And with that, I'd like to invite up my 3 distinguished guests. Could come up and join me, please.